You are now listening to the Dad Bodds Podcast with your hosts, the Odds Fellow, Punisher Picks, LockBets.net, and your announcer, Guns Picks. So time to strap in, dads. It's time to join the father figures in the Dad Bodds Podcast.
Welcome everybody to the Dad Bodds Podcast, episode number 64. And we're half dadding it today. So we have two of us today, and this is perfect because we are the college football guys in this room. Notre Dame and the Pokes are represented. Speaking of the Pokes, we have a name change here. You don't know the name, Pun. We call him the artist, formerly known as Pun Picks. It is now Pokes Picks. What's going on, my friend? Welcome to the Dad Bodds Podcast. How you doing, my friend?
Ooh. Well, we are inching closer to the college football playoff, and both of our teams have a chance. How crazy is that?
Well, at least you have a coach.
God,
I'm laughing now.
What a wild. Let's start with Bedlam. You know, my prediction was 23-10, which was way off.
Fair.
It did not go the way of the regular season because the game is just crazy. Both teams really opened it up.
Wait, 23-10
Oklahoma is my Oklahoma State.
Oh.
But OSU won, so that's all that matters.
Yep.
And now they're sitting at 5 in the college football rankings, and OU is in shambles. So, I mean, it doesn't get any much better than that, does it?
Yeah, you have a tough matchup this week against Baylor. Baylor in a revenge spot. I know you match up well with them. You actually handled them quite well at home. Different animal.
It's backup quarterback.
Oh, there you go. So that kind of helps the situation for you guys.
Right. So that is should help the situation quite a bit. I mean, I'll be at that game as well in person, hopefully.
You're sending me pictures. Yeah, I'm excited for you, man. I mean, this is kind of one of those spots for Oklahoma State where you want Alabama to lose. You may need Michigan to lose too, or Cincinnati.
So they need one of these three things for sure to happen to get in.
Yeah.
They need Iowa to win.
Yes.
Houston to win. Georgia to win. And they need to win.
Yes. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I just don't know if go ahead.
One of those three. But one of those three happens, who else are they going to put in?
Oh, that's true. I think you need Alabama to lose.
See what I mean? If Michigan loses, they're not putting a 2-loss Big Ten champ over a 1-loss Big 12. Right?
I don't think so. No, I don't think you can. If Oklahoma State wins their game, and of course Georgia does their business and really crushes Alabama, I don't know how you can ignore Oklahoma State.
You can't.
You can't. It's impossible.
And now, so the big hurdle was Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But without a coach, they won't put them in.
I mean, it's almost like Brian Kelly knew they weren't going to get in and kind of waited for that moment, and then all of a sudden just like hopped a plane to LSU. And just an out of the freaking nowhere hire. Hold on one second.
Uh-oh.
Coming to you live from the Dad Bodds Studios. This is a Dad Bodds exclusive.
From the Dad Bodds news desk, we have a exclusive here. Notre Dame has hired no one as their head coach yet.
God, you got me. I thought you had some real news.
No, I didn't. I just wanted to use the friggin' stinger. That's all I wanted to do. But yeah, I mean, going into, I don't blame Brian Kelly for leaving. I don't. I understand his method. First of all, he got paid double his salary.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it ended up going from $5 to $10 million a year to go there.
That is pretty low to be paying him on Notre Dame.
But I don't know what happened in the if it was one of those things that Kelly goes, okay, hold on, go up to the AD and go, listen, I'm getting offered this.
Right.
Can you match it? Did he do that? I don't know. But everything was kind of held hush hush. Nobody in the media knew until I guess he was on the ride back or something like that. I blame more of the AD and Notre Dame not recognizing that they had the coach that he's better than Lou Holtz. He's the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. He beat Newt Rockne. I was like, and you don't do anything to his contract to extend him or to bump him up like somewhere during the middle of the year and go, listen, we got to fucking do something because Coach O's gone. This coach is gone.
How many years did he have left?
How many? I don't even know. I think he just did an extension probably, I want to say 2 years ago or something like that. So he was still, I think they gave him 10 years. So,
and then what was his buyout? Did they ever say what his buyout was? Did he have one?
I don't even know. I mean, from the contract standpoint, I didn't even know. I was so just in disarray that I never thought a guy that his dream job to be the coach at Notre Dame, coming from Boston, Irish Catholic, it was like a dream come true to get a guy like that with the passion to win games. And he's done it. He's rebuilt the program. That program was in shambles 12 years ago and he brought it back. I am upset, but I understand the dynamic of where college football is going with the SEC building a juggernaut of a conference. And you already have the Big Ten that has what is the platform for a big conference to match up with the
Right.
SEC. And then you have like the Big 12 that you have
Pac-12
nobody
ACC.
wants to go there. And then the Pac-12, I guess, is going to be a hot spot for people too. Notre Dame not joining a conference pisses me the fuck off.
I've been saying it. I've had this conversation so many times with so many Notre Dame fans, not including you, because I think you agree with me.
Yes.
But a lot of them are they're so adamant about, they think it's such a badge of honor not to be in a conference.
See the writing on the wall now. It's like in a 12-team conference, coaches are not going to want to be independent. They're going to want to be tied into a conference.
I was pretty shocked to see LSU because he doesn't seem like a fit. But I mean, yes. I guess Les Miles didn't seem like a fit either.
He's right? One of those guys that he's one of those guys that he beat the challenge. He hit a ceiling. Notre Dame has academic restrictions on players. Right. Notre Dame is a nice, sweet BMW, shiny new, polished up, great leather interior, all the fixings inside the car. And they go, oh man, I want to try this car out. I'm going to go open it up on the highway. Well, the car only goes 75, so you can't get it past 75. And then you have LSU that introduces you to a shiny new Dodge Charger with a V8 engine and a turbo that can go 125 or ever fuck it goes. Obviously, you're going to take the opportunity to go knock it out and see what you can actually do without a restrictor plate on. And Brian Kelly has been working with restrictor plates from Central Michigan, Cincinnati, Notre Dame, and now he's limitless, which is scary for anyone in the SEC if he can actually accomplish the job. I don't know how that works out with the players in the South, Florida, Georgia.
How old is he?
60. He's 60 years old.
Okay, so this is his most likely his last stop.
Yeah. Right? Well, who knows? I mean, he stays 10 years.
I'd be shocked
with Notre Dame for 12.
I'd be shocked if he's in at LSU for more than 5 years. He's on the record.
I mean, if he's winning,
nobody lasts at LSU. Even the guys that win.
Correct.
I mean, Orgeron won a national championship and he's gone.
But he had a great offensive court. Well, I'll give this to Orgeron. I've seen him as a head coach at USC. I didn't think he was very good. He had Joe Burrow. He had probably the best receivers in the NFL right now.
I know.
And
he had the perfect storm.
He had the perfect storm of players with a great
offensive Dabo. I mean, everybody. I mean, it's just that's what it takes to win. If you're not Alabama, is the perfect storm.
I'm just wondering now that Kelly's gone, can they keep I hope they keep Marcus Freeman. I don't know
Yeah.
if he wants to stay around as a DC, if he wants to be a head coach. I think he may leverage as much as possible. I heard Luke Fickell's in the mix. I've heard every media guy just basically Googles available coaches that want to go somewhere else or a good coach
Well,
somewhere.
I mean, Cincinnati makes sense because they got their last coach from there. And then, other than that, I mean, I would say Matt Campbell. The thing with Fickell, I think he has a super high buyout. I know Matt Campbell has $28 million buyout, which is a lot of money.
But who has a lot of money?
Well, obviously not Notre Dame because they're only paying Brian Kelly $5 million a season.
I think they just got a bargain. I mean, Notre Dame has money. That's bullshit that they don't have money.
Well, they better start spending it. Here's what it comes down to. If you want to compete in this day and age, you better spend a lot of.
That's correct.
Money.
I think that this was a reality check for them because they basically had Tom Brady that was taking salary cuts for a while. The Tom Brady of coaching. From a Notre Dame level. I wouldn't say they were, they're not beating Alabama, they're not beating Clemson, or they hit their ceiling at, their.
I think he kind of, and this could be why Lincoln Riley left as well. They kept getting to the playoff and they kept losing, and they were probably like, I just can't get over the hump here.
But why USC?
Scared of the Pac-12.
I mean, scared of the SEC, not.
I mean, SEC. Sorry, SEC. Yeah. Scared of the SEC. I think he says his family fits better there. His family is from the smallest town in Texas in the world. Like that's a complete bullshit.
Yeah. You got paid a lot of money. You got 2 houses.
Can you imagine getting a job offer tomorrow morning and immediately taking it? Like, is that something you would do in our level of business?
No, I would have.
Would you do that as a head coach of a university?
No. In the middle of the season?
Yeah.
You still have a bowl game coming up. It's like you're not done your season technically.
I know.
And you're I don't.
That is so. It's so.
But
it is so scummy. It's just the nature of the business. I get it. There's no good way to do it.
It's almost like, the big schools have a lot of control of who they bring in. They line up like 4 guys and they go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm speculating. They line up like their top 3.
Right.
It's like one of these guys is going to take it. Let's start with 1. If he doesn't take it, we're just going to go 2, 3. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to hit that because we're just basically going to offer the same thing.
It was just so weird how the LSU job was Lincoln's, and then he went to USC, and then they had hired. So LSU's number 1 was Riley. He said no, and Brian Kelly was their number 2, I guess.
That's weird that he denied that job. Why would he? It's like what's?
Well, you don't want to compete against your team in the SEC in 2 years. That's one reason why.
I guess. I don't know what the history is with him in Oklahoma. There's something weird going on there.
Yeah, there's something going on in the background. I think he's kind of arrogant. I think everybody kind of saw him as arrogant.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing now, it's funny you don't hear it while they're winning or during this. It's all these things you hear after he leaves, right?
Right.
And then the OU fans are just so butthurt about this. The sports radio has just been awesome to listen to. I mean, it's just.
I bet.
It's just fantastic. But they're so pissed off about him leaving, him like basically picking up overnight and leaving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what OU did to the Big 12? Oh, packed their shit up and left.
Yep.
So why are you so mad?
Right. I mean,
why are you mad at Riley for doing the same thing you did? And you're saying he has so much history at OU. No, OU has way more history in the Big 12.
It's karma. It's karma in a way too. It's like, you get what you bring. And maybe there's a little bit of karma there for Brian Kelly leaving that, when everybody was jumping ship into conferences and you had that opportunity, even in the pandemic, you were in the ACC and you had a good run. You played against Clemson. You did lose the game, but you had and you still made the playoff with that loss.
Yeah.
I don't understand what their problem is. If there's some weird money tied into that they're getting all to them, that they can't share with others? I don't know. Is it NBC? Is that the problem?
Yeah, NBC. Well, it's not the problem, but it's the benefactor, because they want to control the narrative. They want to control their own narrative.
Scheduling too.
And scheduling and game times and who they play and when they play and where they play and where it's shown on TV.
I think
and they have the ability to until now. I mean, it's just kind of the game has just changed. Maybe where would they join? Where do you want them to join? If you had to pick a conference to join, where would you? Not what makes most sense, not where they can win the best, but what, as a fan, where would you want them to join?
Big Ten.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just makes sense geographically. Already kind of built in
conference
rivalries.
link is ACC, which is you're in Indiana and you're surrounded by Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin. It's like you're already in that region. Might as well just play up. It was like, and you have a little bit of leverage in.
But how did they miss their chance to go to the Big Ten? That's the thing.
I don't know. I don't even know if they even got. I don't understand. They got pulled into the ACC through basketball, and basketball was a big thing at that point. They were in the Big East, and then the
COVID year made them join the ACC de facto for that one season. Remember?
Correct.
They were actually in the ACC and they won it, right?
No, they
lose to Clemson.
They lost to Clemson in the championship.
Okay. Yeah, they almost won it in their first year.
But they went into that game undefeated and they lost to Clemson. I think it had to do with two things. Brian Kelly wanting to be in a conference to have that extra game, and then two, the recruiting element with no restrictor plates. You can just go in there and dive in. And Brian Kelly has a history of this. Is like he goes in I read something about someone wrote an article about JJ Watt, and he almost had JJ Watt go to Central Michigan. He had him locked in. JJ Watt was ready to go play at Central Michigan. They were going to be the next Boise State, and the next day he had this conversation. He went to Cincinnati. He's like, "What the fuck? How do you do this?" And this is a pattern for him. He did the same thing in Cincinnati. He did the same thing in North. He's like, he basically keeps
every school he goes to thinks he's not gonna do it to them, and he still has them thinking that,
Yeah, it's just business to him. It almost like he doesn't even care about the players. He hires coaches that care about the players, and he just is a figurehead for the most part.
The crazy thing about this is that OU and Notre Dame are very similar programs as far as success, right? I mean, I think OU has 8 national championships. I don't know how many Notre Dame has. But
the last one is 89. That's all. 89. That's the last one.
Yeah, I mean, but they have, 5 or 6 probably.
Yeah, maybe
Natties.
More. I think they had. Aren't they one of the?
Yeah, I guess it depends what the. I guess it depends what.
I mean, I can't look back to see when they had Jim Thorpe on the team. I was like, that's pretty. The Four Horsemen or whatever. Newt Rockne days, he had a few. I know. Lou Holtz had a couple.
He had one.
He only had
11. They have 11 claimed.
Yep.
88, 77.
No, they had a good run in the 60s too.
They won in 24, 29, 30. So who really cares, right?
Yeah, that's 4
43, 46, 47, 49. Who really cares? There's like 12 teams in college football probably.
We're going to play Army again.
66, 73, 77, 88. So Notre Dame hasn't won a championship since 1988.
I know. And I don't remember it. I was a youngin'. I've seen him in national championships, and I've seen him get their dick kicked in.
And OU hasn't won since 2000.
Yeah, it was a good team. At least you could remember that championship.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, I was like, I mean, I know I can't say anything for Oklahoma State. Have you guys ever been to a national championship?
Yeah, they won in 40. They won in 47.
Okay, so I have nothing to complain about.
But it wasn't like a real win. It was like we tied for the national championship, and one poll gave it to OSU, one poll gave it to Alabama, one poll gave it to Ohio. It was like during the era where everybody just claimed a national championship kind of thing.
Yeah.
Alabama has their own poll down there, and they have like 35 national championships because of that.
Yeah, I mean they've got statues for other coaches. But speaking of college football, I have a little something cooked up for a free pick, and we might as well just transition now to the Dad Bodds Capper Breakdown.
It is time for the Dad Bodds Capper Breakdown.
Oh yeah. The Dad Bodds Capper Breakdown brought to you by GPO. Lock 4 Cappers, one spot for a great price. Hit me up at the DMs if you want to join. Are we still doing a promo yet? Still?
Yeah, we still have promo code FEAST that I think
that's half off of 6 months, right?
Well, half off of any package, half off of anything.
Half off any package. Promo code FEAST if you want to join up. You want me to start? You want to go?
You can go. You're ready.
Okay.
You queued it up.
All right, we're going to be working on the Pac-12 championship. This is a rematch of Oregon and Utah. They are very familiar with each other. You know why? Because Oregon beat them at home 38-7. Now, if you remember, this was a hula play for me. And I put the hula on the line and I post that pick, and we got about 6,000 views on that one. So I appreciate that. Shout out CT Bats. Shout out the Hustle podcast on that one. Oregon is coming into this game with revenge. They weren't healthy in that game. And that's kind of why I picked them. I didn't really talk about the defense at all. They were banged up, especially in the linebacker core. They couldn't stop the run. They're playing at Utah. Utah is such a tough place to play, especially at night on the road when you have an Oregon State rivalry the next week. Everything fell apart for them. So they went to Oregon State. They did their business. The game was a lot closer than it actually was. That was actually a pick for me. I actually took Oregon for the GPL Lock members. So you got to look at the game box score on this one. They turned the ball over on downs twice, missed 2 field goals, and they gave up a punt return touchdown. All of that applied gave up 17 points. Very easy to Utah. And of course, Oregon is very familiar being in the Pac-12 championship. I think they won it last year, and they played them in 2019. They played Utah in the championship. They beat them 37-15 as 6.5-point dogs. So this is something that we need to understand, that Oregon is here to run the table. They're pissed off. They're going to be, salivating like rabid dogs. Oregon +3 and the money line, sprinkle as the play.
Wow. So you think because of the the rematch, you think that's a big scenario for Oregon?
It's revenge.
A revenge spot.
Yeah. I think especially you get them out of Utah and you get them on the road.
Yeah.
Statistically, they kind of play pretty even. Utah does a road and home. Get them on a neutral spot, warm weather. I think it's going to be played in California or something like that.
Probably played Rose Bowl. Or maybe they play at Santa Clara sometimes, I think.
Yeah, it is. But from a atmosphere conditions, it's going to be much different than playing at Utah. That's kind of where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
And I just think that
it's not an away game for one.
No, it's a neutral spot.
Right.
But I think when you have that team just playing fully healthy and just raring to go, there's no issues whatsoever. I think you're going to catch Utah in a bad spot, and Oregon's going to just
I think you see Oregon in a spot where there's not a lot of pressure too. They probably play better.
And you get them as a dog too.
I got 2 plays. I'll go ahead and give 2 because we usually give 3 or 4, but we're missing our comrades.
I know. Well, yeah, he's with Mrs. Locke, so or I don't know what you call it. Mama Locke, Mrs. Locke. I don't know.
Mama Locke. All right, let's go. Hey now,
girl, you call her whatever. I don't know. Don't put me on the spot.
Cut that out. All right, so I got 1 NBA spot in honor of the Odds Fellow, and that will be this is a contrarian pick to the max. but we're going to take the Clippers team total over tomorrow night. They play at home versus Sacramento. Sacramento will be on a back-to-back, playing the Lakers tonight without LeBron. And the Clippers are fitting a system similar to my first pick of the season.
Okay.
Where they have lost now 9 in a row versus the team total over. And kind of that, once you get to that spot, you get to this sneaky area where you don't, you get to that 10 in a row spot where that just doesn't happen very often. So you're kind of betting on a trend, but it helps when it aligns with a few other things as well. So we're going to take the Clippers team total over. Don't know the number yet, and I don't really care what it is. Probably, 108.5, something like that, I would guess. And then the second play is another contrarian play, another team that's pretty bad at scoring goals on the road. This is a hockey play. Mm-hmm. It's the Vancouver Canucks, who hopefully will go over that 2.5 at Ottawa. Mm-hmm. Ottawa's pretty bad. The Canucks are pretty bad, but they can score in spurts. They're due. And it could be 2.5. It could be 3.5. If it's 3.5, we'll get like plus 120 probably, which will be nice. But either way, we'll be on that team total over 2.5. Vancouver, Clippers, 109.5. I'm going to guess. So we'll see how close I am at guessing these. But 2 plays, and hopefully you can get back. I'm 1-1 since we've started doing this segment. I think you're 1-1. So I don't know. Let's see if we can get some winners. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah. We actually did good the first week, and then I think we tailed off the next week. I took ECU thinking Cincinnati would be in a look ahead, and they are. Cincinnati is one of those teams I don't think that they're going to be stopped. I don't see it
unless their coach gets taken from them.
I don't think
that's a distraction. We can get out of this segment and talk more, but that's a distraction. That's a distraction.
That's true.
Right?
So, yep.
Coaching distraction. Do you have any data on that?
I would have to wait until we get some further data going into the rest of the week. But I think that wraps up the data breakdown. I need a closer for that one because I don't want to give the intro again.
It's the Dad Bodds breakdown.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we can't use Europe for everything, can we?
Well, yeah, we can. Been using them for years and years. No, but I don't know, man. I think you're right about Cincinnati. I think Houston's pretty good. Where is that title game? Do you know?
Home game for Cincinnati. Actually, that's going to be a home game for Cincinnati.
Okay, see, that's another. Get Cincinnati. They don't deserve to be in the playoff. They get a conference title home game.
Yeah,
that's not a real conference. Get them out of here. I don't care if they go undefeated. They're out. Sorry. They played one hard team all season called Notre Dame.
Yeah. And that's good. That's kind of one of those weird spots too for them. Cause I think with Houston, I don't know if they're going to be world beaters against them. Are they going to be that inspired to go and get a victory when like what's left for them,
Houston?
I mean, yeah. As far as like, what happens if you beat Houston? You beat Cincinnati.
You go to a New Year's Day bowl. And
you think that gets them into a New Year's Day bowl?
Well, they'll be 11-1.
I mean, yeah, but
11-1 with a win over the number 4 team in the country.
That'd be an interesting one too, because
It gets them the conference championship. That's your goal. That's the goal of these that's the goal of most teams. You got to realize that's the goal of most every team other than 6 or 7 teams is conference championship.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a goal for OSU. OSU never thought they'd have any chance of it their fans didn't. I mean, their players might have, but I mean, do they really know?
Hey, do you hear that?
Huh? What is it?
Oh, you know that sound. That means the dads have a special guest ready to join the show. Let's tune in and see who it could be.
That's right. Our very special guest is in the queue, and I want to give her the proper introduction. Digital reporter for Bet Karma and host of Awesemo.com. I'm reading off her Twitter profile. I'll let her do the intro for herself. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dad Bodds podcast, Taylor Mathis. What's going on? How you doing? I see you laughing. I think you're going to do well here.
How do you beat that intro?
The little doorbell, I was like not expecting that, but I love it.
A little add into the podcast, but I want to welcome you. And I actually recommended bringing you on here because someone liked one of your tweets and it caught into my feed like everybody else's stuff. And what got me is like, oh, I'll just click on one of our videos. And the accent got me like right away. It was like, I'm sucker for any accent. If you got a Boston accent like myself, if you got Midwest, Texas,
that's why he likes me so much.
I'm in. It's like follow, bang.
I got my strong Midwest Chicago accent for sure. But I've been told since I've moved out here to Arizona that I've slowly lost it. I think it used to be worse than it is now.
Oh, so, no, it shows in your videos.
Better.
You can't lose it. You can't lose it. Totally. It'll come out when obviously it'll come out. But
it does.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. It was nice meeting you.
Thanks. Nice to meet you guys too.
Yeah.
So what have you got going on? Are you just wheeling and dealing with picks and just constantly busy or what's your deal? Tell us.
So like you guys were saying, so I am a digital reporter for Bet Karma, and then I also host for Awesemo and Side Action. So those are kind of my two main gigs right now. So I pretty much just do a lot of hosting, a lot of pick giving. Specifically, my two sports are baseball and football, but for Awesemo, I mostly do NBA content. So I'm getting on the NBA train now, even though basketball's never really been my sport. It's slowly becoming my sport, I guess.
When did you start getting into like the gambling industry?
Yeah, so my background, my degree is in sports broadcasting, and I, went the traditional route after college and started off at local TV stations, working in sports departments, all that kind of stuff. And then I started getting into the digital world for a company in Texas, and I was working out of Dallas, and I really liked the digital side of stuff. I was mostly doing NFL. Then I started working for a company in Arizona, where I'm at now, and I covered the Suns for 2 seasons, and I was still doing a lot of digital content. But about, I guess it would have been almost 8 to 10 months ago, Bet Karma approached me about getting on with gambling content. And I was like, why not? Why not switch it up? I've been kind of doing the traditional sideline sports storytelling thing for a while now. I think I'm ready to try something else, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's so fun, way different than anything I've done before, and I'm enjoying it.
It is fun. It is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It can be not fun sometimes too. I'm
Sure.
sure.
I'm on a big cold streak right now.
We all hit the cold streaks. I hit one like big time on Friday, and we had a panic moment. Like as a group, we were just kind of holding each other's hands, trying to get through it.
But we have a nice track record of people coming on here and then getting real hot.
Oh,
yeah, that's true.
Well, I hope that happens for me then, because I placed a lot. I do this thing on my Twitter called the People's Parlay. And I have the people give me their picks, and I'll pick like 5 to 6, create a parlay out of it. I've been doing this for weeks now. Not a single one has hit. And they are, and it just is a.
It only takes one. It only takes one.
Yeah, that's right.
Laughable though, because they come at you so hard, like
yeah.
And then it's like, then you get theirs, and I was like, all of your picks are garbage too. You guys haven't hit a single one for me.
That's a smart thing for you to do. It's like, hey, it's not that easy, guys.
It's not.
I'm using your picks.
I was like, I kind of bragged a little bit to them because they gave me this 5-leg parlay, and only 2 of the 5 legs hit yesterday. And 4 out of my 5 player props hit for Monday Night Football that were my picks. So I was like, I like to say that I'm good on the prop plays mostly. That's like my area of expertise. But other than that, I definitely struggle sometimes, and right now has been one of those.
Well, as long as you're honest and just
like
you are, that's it's entertainment too, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
So you said you covered sports as a broadcaster before, and I was kind of like just trying to research, and I started like just scrolling through your Twitter, and I noticed that you were like doing like some odd like ESPN the Ocho stuff. Oh, maybe not that bad, but it was more of like you getting put in a position to do rodeo content, or you have to cover the rodeo?
So I have a podcast, and it's a sports podcast with one of my other really good friends. She's also in the sports industry. And we had another girl on, Sarah Griffin, who does baseball and lacrosse writing. And we were talking about like some of the oddest things we've like had to do in the sports world. And one of my first jobs out of college was for a very small station in Kearney, Nebraska. And during the summer, when I wasn't, covering the Huskers and doing football and basketball and all that fun stuff, I was covering high school rodeo a bunch. So
high school rodeo?
Yeah, it was really interesting. That's
a true grassroots. You've really worked your way up. If you've gone from high school radio to Scottsdale or wherever, Phoenix.
I literally I had to research what goat tying was and all these things that I'd never heard of. Obviously there was bull riding and the typical stuff, but there were a ton of events that I had absolutely no idea what was going on, but it was honestly pretty cool. And being from the Midwest, I didn't feel that out of my element because people will be like, oh, you're from the Chicago area. I'm from a small town in the middle of nowhere that's all farmland. So I'm used to the country side of things.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm from central Maine, and there was a population 2,000. That was pretty much
that's what the town I'm from is like that. I'm from a town called Sandwich, Illinois. It's so tiny.
Sandwich, Illinois.
Wait, yes, Sandwich. There's my dog is barking right
That's
now.
Okay. That's
I'm very happy about something. But yeah, I'm from a small town in Illinois called Sandwich, and there's apparently another one called Massachusetts. Sandwich, Massachusetts, too.
Yeah, there is actually. Yeah, I'm familiar. It's basically a drive-through town. Sandwich. You might see the sign on the highway, but it's not near the exit. That's for sure.
So I wanted to ask you a quick question. Are you? So we think of the gambling, I guess the sports gambling customer as a guy, right? I mean,
right.
As a male, and there's a lot more females coming into the sphere.
Definitely.
I guess if you want to call it, right? Which I think is awesome because my mom taught me how to. She taught me how to sports gamble.
Oh, I love that.
She was I was betting quarters, with my mom, and
right.
keeping notes on a Trapper Keeper, and it's ingrained in me now, and I do it for fun, but obviously do it to make some money too. But
right.
Do you have any just women that reach out to you that are like, hey, I gamble on sports. I'm not really looking to be in the entertainment part, but I'm just a fan and I gamble, and I'm glad to see another women out there.
Okay, so that's a really good question. I would say when it comes to women in gambling, when it comes to us girls that are in the industry with broadcasting, we're a very tight knit group. All of us talk and know each other, whether it's from actually meeting in person or social media. We all definitely back each other a lot. Yeah. When it comes to girls that just straight up bet, I don't really know many.
I know, right? They're out there, but are they just scared to admit it?
I don't know. I definitely when it comes to girls that are in the industry for sure. But girls that aren't in the industry that bet, I don't really know any, many of them. I wish I had more girls messaging me because the majority of the time it's just
I know. I'm sure
all the time.
Yeah, I don't even want to know. But yeah, that's what I always wonder because I know my mom would have she was doing fantasy football where you had to mail it in.
Right. Oh my gosh, I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, so that's where I learned how to sports gamble. So I know that they're out there, but it's just maybe they're not wanting to be in the limelight or even be on Twitter.
Maybe the bigger and bigger that sports betting gets, I hope more women get involved with it because I honestly think that females are definitely better bettors. We're smarter with things. We're a little more
detailed.
You see things differently. I can you see the game in a different way.
Right.
It's kind of like me learning hockey I never watched hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Never bet hockey. Started doing it, 3 or 4 years ago, and now I see the game differently, I think, than somebody that's been watching it their entire life.
Right.
And that might be different for you. Now you say you're learning the NBA, so you kind of maybe see different things than a normal person would see. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, cool. I agree. I hope more women get into it.
They will. Yeah. The door is wide open.
I think so too.
When I first started my Instagram Guns Picks account, one of my first followers was a woman from the Bronx, New York, and she used to DM me all the time, every Sunday. But she would never DM. She would send the voice. She would just send voice messages.
Little voice recording.
And she sounded like I'm trying to think of the White Man Can't Jump actress. What's her name? I'm putting the quiz out. The White Man Can't Jump actress. You know what I'm talking about?
Rosie Perez.
Rosie Perez. She sounded exactly like Rosie Perez, and it was just hilarious every Sunday morning as I'm like on the computer, like trying to figure out what I'm going to pick that day. I need your lock, Guns. I need your lock. And it was like we would just go with that. We had these like real cool conversations and stuff, and I would just give her picks all the time. And it turns out now, like I'm still following her, and she sells picks now. It's like, so I was like, I guess you're a capper. No, I'll tell you after this. It's like it's funny because it's her personal account, and she's wild. Like she parties like a crazy person. Her stories are absolutely fun to look. But yeah, I'll let you know.
Any guesses? No, I'm just kidding.
No, shout out her. She's funny. She just makes me laugh every morning. But I actually saw another part of one of the podcasts you were on, and I think it was called Seltzers, Saturdays and Seltzers. Is that right?
Yeah, they're two girls, Sarah and oh my gosh, I'm blanking. But two girls out of the East Coast, like Boston area, and they. Oh,
good. So they're kind of like my peoples.
Yeah, they're big, like Red Sox, Bruins girls.
Perfect.
Yeah. Perfect. So they had me on, and that was super fun.
But you had a little snippet. I saw one of your clips. I didn't listen to the whole podcast, but you know, I'm sure within the gambling Twitter community, you guys must share like tweet like DMs that you guys get from one another. I would, but the one that caught my eye is the one that you told the story of Jonah Hill sent you a DM to ask you out for a date. What was that about?
Yeah, actually the funny thing is with Twitter, I like just started Twitter I've had Twitter, but I never used it until I've really gotten into the gambling space. So I built my following only over like the last couple months. Instagram is where I have like my giant following at. So that's where I will get like the most DMs or like crazy things people will send me. And one time I happened to look at my DMs and I like went to my requested and it came up on my top requested, like somebody with, the little blue verified check mark and it said Jonah Hill. And I was like, what? I was like, there's no way that Jonah Hill messaged me. And I like look at it and it was like, hey, Taylor, I think that you're beautiful. Would you be down to go on a date if I fly you to LA? And it was like typed out. And I was just like, this cannot be real. So I like wrote back, I don't think that this is real. This is probably fake. He sends me a video message then. And he was like, hi, Taylor, it's Jonah. Like, for real, it's me. And like basically asked me out on a date if I would fly to LA. I did not go. But everybody
his shot. Damn.
Why did you go on a date with this Academy Award winning actor? I don't know. I have another good one for you guys that's funny too. Is Soulja Boy, the rapper. He's another one that literally never leaves me alone. He probably offers to come to LA to hang out on a weekly basis, and I never respond to him. But he's another one. He seems nice. I have nothing bad to say, but he is persistent in the DMs.
When's his next song coming out? Why don't you ask him that? Next time
has it been like 10 years? He had that one song.
He's got a really famous song on TikTok right now that he just came with. So he is probably rolling in dough from royalties. I'm assuming off of that.
So explain TikTok to us. You are on there, right? I watched all of your TikToks. Unfortunately, which there's only like 8, and I'm like, what the heck?
I'm pretty sad because I used to have a very large following on TikTok, like over 100,000 followers, and then I got banned from TikTok for posting sports betting content. So,
what? Is that a real thing?
Apparently, it's illegal because TikTok's owned by China. They don't want you promoting U.S. sites. It's a whole thing, so you have to be really careful in the way.
So it was more of the promoting thing. You can there.
So I was like, before I would just like unfortunately, I'd rather sit most of the time and give my picks and talk analysis. But if I'm doing that according to TikTok's algorithm, it doesn't work well. So I'm like, all right, I've got to do these little like TikTok dances and things like that. Or like you have to do like a funny skit to kind of get across what you're wanting to grow. So now I'm completely restarting my TikTok. So it's pretty much like brand new. And hopefully I can.
Are you going to do dances?
It was.
Are you going to do like those weird dances that
I
have to.
But if I don't know. We'll see.
It takes forever to make those. So
it takes forever to make TikToks.
I don't know. Are you familiar with Trent Bucket? Trent Bucket.
Yeah, I love Trent.
Okay,
yeah,
so
we had him on.
So Trent came on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Trent actually, oddly enough, like at one point when he first started Book It, before he moved to Nevada and everything like that, he was like really wanted me to work for Book It, and him and I like started talking that way, but then I was in talks with Bet Karma and it was like a whole thing. But him and I have always like stayed in contact, and he's awesome. He's so cool.
Yeah, he's blowing up TikToks. It's pretty
he is. I'm like, it's nuts how that can happen.
Yeah, he's become pretty notable with that stuff. It's
big God.
I don't know how he does it. I guess when that's your job, that's what you do. But
right, content creation. I'm like, that's like daily. I feel like that's what I'm doing too.
So, I mean, what are your tips? What are your tips on like getting? I mean, you've grown pretty well for being on Twitter not that long. I mean, what are your tips and tricks? Is it like you just show up and like put out pics and everyone just goes, "Holy shit, look at this girl!" Like,
you find a lot of help people to promote you, right?
I followed you because I was like, you know, there's women on there that try to get into the game. And you just listen to like the vibe or the personality and you just like, nah, it's like, but I saw yours and I heard the accent and then you were actually given information that was informative. I was like, that's enough for me. It's like that. So, I mean, is that what it is? Or is it, do you think it's more than that?
I would say my biggest thing through like how I've grown in the sports industry very much through social media is how I've gained a lot of my opportunities and stuff like that. And I feel like part of it is obviously the knowledge and being well spoken, but I also like to think that I'm like unapologetically myself too. Mm-hmm. And I like to have fun and I like to sprinkle in other like bits of my life that aren't just strictly like professional sports. That's all I'm going to ever say. Like, I want to make things a little more fun and interesting with my content. So that's why I'm like when I was on their podcast, I'm like, oh, I'll tell you guys this story about Jonah Hill, like something a little more interesting than it just always being like the same type of thing that you hear.
Just stats. Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, I know my stats. I know picks, my picks, at least from my knowledge of what I think is going to hit. But I also think I like to like have fun while I do it too. And I think that has helped me grow in the industry and grow through social media.
Yeah, being genuine is such a huge part of this because
it is.
That's the perfect answer for anybody that wants to get in this game. Is like you just got to be yourself.
Yeah,
you'll never find any more genuine than that guy Guns, right? I mean, that guy is.
I go
what you see
100 miles an hour,
whether you like it or not. He is an absolute madman.
Yeah, check me out, follow me because
he's
all I do is put out content that is. It's legitimate capping content. I just go absolutely bananas crazy. And that's how, it's like, that's my energy. It's like, you bring the energy, people are going to follow you. That's perfectly like, yeah, just be yourself. That's all you can do.
Totally.
And people will shit on you for being yourself. And I was like, okay, well then I'm going to continue doing it then.
Yeah. I'm like, I get things daily about my accent, about being a girl, about my looks, like literally every single thing in the book. But I'm like, by this point in my career though too, I always remember my first job in Iowa. I had a viewer call in about she didn't think that it was appropriate that with my body type that I was speaking sports and standing to the side because that's inappropriate. And it was in a very, very conservative area. But like, I wasn't wearing anything inappropriate, but I was like, how is that my fault? And I remember my news director calling me in and telling me that he had to read me this critique from this viewer because it's part of the job. And I remember getting in my car afterwards and I was bawling to my mom. I was like 21 at the time. Mm-hmm. So I was like fresh, new. I didn't want to, like, I was so like sheltered in hearing that kind of stuff.
You weren't trying to ruffle any feathers or
no,
you were just trying to
but
do
my
your job.
mom
Right.
was like, listen, the bigger you get in this industry, the more you put yourself out there, the more people are going to hate you, but you just got to keep being you. And ever since then, now I'm like, daily, there are men saying who knows what about me or whatever. And I'm like, you just got to take it with a grain of salt and literally brush it off because
you
You
actually called
doesn't work well.
You actually called somebody out today about
oh
you
my
just
gosh.
put up on DMs. So I saw that. Yeah, that was funny. You doxed him.
I did because I'm doing a toy drive right now, and I'm like, dude, the video of me talking was about the toy drive, and he texted me like, "You're stunning," and I was just like, "Donate, just donate."
I was like, yeah, you're the millionth guy to say that.
Like,
congratulations.
Yeah, I was like, don't hit on me. Donate to the cause. Thanks. It is what it is.
Well, the dads will be donating for sure.
Yeah,
you can.
Do we want to go? I'm debating. I got one of the dad bods actually sent a message via Hawaii. Do we want to put that up?
You can if you want, but
no, I'm
she's not going to answer it. Put it up.
Put it up.
All
right, I'll put it up. This is not from us. All right. So he posted this question.
I have a question.
So you can see a picture of it.
All right, I have a question. Who is the best looking on the dad bods? And yes, we know it's Oz. Thanks. I will hang up and listen. So that's the other dad bods. He's in Hawaii. He couldn't be on the show today. So he wants to know who is the better looking one out of the group.
Well, how can I give a proper judgment if Odds is not on here?
Exactly.
That's right. Well, you can only judge us two then. So it narrows it down to two.
That means you got to come back. You got to come back.
How about we do that? I'll come back on next time.
Okay, yes. Yeah. We'll have a reoccurring guest with Taylor.
It works.
Let's go. I wanted to do a segment with you, and we did this segment with Book It with Trent, and I'm bringing it back. And I wish I did a stinger for this one, and it pisses me off. Fade or tail? Remember this one, Pokes?
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay, fade or tail. Do you understand what the game is? So basically you pick which one to fade, which one to tail. It's like F, marry, kill kind of deal, but it's with only two.
Gotcha.
All right, so fade or tail? Fade or tail? First question. DMs you for a date. Your favorite sports athlete or favorite movie TV actor, fade or tail?
Okay, wait. So do I pick between the
You pick one to fade, one to tail. So you're either going to fade the sports athlete or you're going to fade your favorite actor.
Well, I have to say first, my boyfriend would say I need to fade both. But
we're playing the game. Yeah,
our favorite actor is obviously not Jonah Hill. We know that.
For the game's sake, I would fade the athlete, tail the actor.
So Jonah Hill still got a chance, huh?
I've been working in sports too.
Who's the actor?
With those athletes a lot. So.
Who's the actor?
Ooh, Leo probably.
Who's the? Oh well, that's why you failed on Jonah.
You can't say no to Leo.
What about the athlete?
My favorite athlete of all time is Anthony Rizzo. He's married, so that'll never happen for me. But unfortunate.
Even in that Yankee uniform, where is Rizzo going? Did he resign?
I'm thinking he might come back to the Cubs. We'll see. Nothing has happened yet. I'm very anxious to see what happens.
Oh, yeah, you're a Cubs fan.
To come back.
All right. Do you have one, Pokes? Do you want me to keep rolling?
Go ahead. I didn't know we were doing this, so I didn't.
Yeah, I know. I should have told you beforehand. We kind of ran late. All right. Fade or tail? Fade or tail? Detroit Lions win one game this year, or Iowa wins the Big Ten championship. Fade or tail?
Obviously have to tail Iowa. That's my alma mater. And I'm definitely fading the Lions. And I made a TikTok today that I'm like, the Lions are a joke. Why are they even an NFL team at this point? Like,
they cover spreads.
I'm sorry. I love Campbell. He's like my favorite head coach in the league, but like, they're just so bad.
They're a tough organization. They just haven't had any success.
Yeah. I'm like, and who chose? I know like all the traditionalists will say, the Lions and the Bears played because it was Thanksgiving. I'm like, I think it's time for a new tradition because that was just a garbage game.
That was bad. Really bad. I thought it was going to be a tie.
I mean, it almost was.
All right. Before we actually get into some picks, I'm hoping you have some picks for us today because this is the luckiest podcast in the nation. So, okay. Well, I got one more fade or tail for you. All right. Fade or tail, 40-somethings that wear affliction t-shirts or 40-somethings that wear backwards hats? Fade or tail?
I'm going to go fade the t-shirt, tail the hats.
Fuck yeah, let's go.
What's in hats? That's always like a plus. You know, me and my friends will make this comment. Is he cute or is he wearing a hat? Is he actually cute or is he just wearing a hat?
What does that mean?
The hat-
What
the
does
hat
that
helps.
mean? What does
That's
that
the
mean?
thing. Is he cute or is he just wearing a hat? So
She's saying like wearing a hat makes you
more attractive.
Well, that's why.
Yeah,
All right, yes, you got
that's
it.
why I'm definitely tailing the hats for
All
sure.
right. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
So I guess we're getting to picks. What do you want to do? You want to work on a little NFL, NBA, or
Well, I can give some NBA. I've got some NBA plays for tonight.
Let's do it.
That are
Let's do
good
it.
player props that
It's live.
it's
I'm
live?
already,
So
yeah, I
we'll
was
do
thinking, I'm like, it's live. So, okay, first one I'm looking at that I'm most excited for, obviously, is my Suns versus the Warriors tonight. 16-game win streak. Only team better in the entire league is the Warriors. But my favorite play tonight is Devin Booker for over 3.5 assists. I think that he's got to be extremely productive and a scorer and a facilitator tonight if they're going to beat the Warriors. You know, a lot of people are obviously on Steph Curry dropping like 30 tonight. I feel like with the Suns at home, I'm like so sad I'm not at the game. But I'm liking the Suns. I bet on the Suns tonight, and I really like the Devin Booker over on assists play. So that's like my favorite for tonight.
Well, you know that's a winner because you're on this podcast. Do you have anything for the NFL?
Okay, NFL. I guess it depends where you're looking right now. I thought I saw Cowboys at -4.5, but then I thought I saw them at -5.5. I like the Cowboys to cover. We're coming off of, and I'm a huge Cowboys fan too, so I was like, I gotta throw this one in.
Yeah, I saw that on TikTok, and I was like,
Yeah.
she's from like Chicago or like Iowa.
So my dad is from Iowa originally. He grew up during Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, you know, Michael Irving, all those guys playing. And they were the only people on TV that he could pretty much watch on the primetime channels. So he grew up a Cowboys fan, and then he raised me a Cowboys fan. So born and raised Cowboys fan, living
Well,
in
I'm a Dallas fan too. The Odds Fellow is a Dallas fan.
Yeah, this is a
obviously a Patriots fan.
this is primarily a Cowboys podcast.
Love it.
But I think 4.5 is the number right now.
I'm going to take the Cowboys to cover at 4.5. We're coming off of a loss on Thanksgiving that went into overtime that like broke my heart. And, you know, actually, 2 losses in a row now. I feel like we've got to bounce back. We're against the Saints team that's obviously struggling. They don't even know who's starting at quarterback this week. It looks like it might be Hill. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like because of that, I give it to the Cowboys. If we don't, I'm going to be really depressed. But I think the Cowboys cover by at least a touchdown in this one.
Feels like a must-win for Dallas.
Yeah.
CD back. Is Amari back? Or not?
Amari, it still is questionable as of right now.
Okay.
But I'm hoping, by Sunday that
at least CD is back. My fantasy team is happy, and I'm a fan.
But we don't have Mike McCarthy. I don't know if that's
a plus.
No, that's a plus. That is an absolute plus.
I was talking to my dad about that on the phone yesterday, and he's like, "That's not even a loss for us."
No,
somebody else
can see it in the line movement.
Somebody else can smash watermelons at halftime.
If you don't see a line shift when you hear the information about the coach being out, then you know it's not going to be a problem.
Exactly.
And having CD Lamb back and having Amari Cooper back, and I think that those two key entities are going to help that offense get boosted.
Receivers for sure.
And coming off that OT loss, I don't hate that pick. I really don't. I'm hoping that the public doesn't just jump on the Cowboys like they normally do, and they kind of like want to, you buy low, sell high with teams like stocks. So that's kind of like at least my approach with looking at the NFL is like, what did you do last week? What do you have coming up? And the same thing goes with college too. So it's more scenario based, but wow, what a podcast. We actually went a little bit long for you today. And that was kind of
kept you too long.
So fun. And we got to have you back for sure when the whole group is here.
So and what we'll probably do in Guns is what we'll probably do. And we've been talking about this is last year we did like a Dad Bodds holiday, like 12 pack of picks.
Yep.
And we had 12 different cappers come on, and we just did like a roulette, like rapid fire. All right, Taylor, here's your pick, and then you're off, and then somebody else comes on. So we're going to try to do something like that. It might be bigger than 12 pack this year, But
yeah, we're extending it to 18, I think.
Hopefully maybe we can include you in that, and you can we have a really, really good group of honest, good quality cappers as well. So
yeah, that sounds awesome. That'll be fun.
So, awesome.
Well, that concludes the Dad Bods Podcast, episode number 64. Thank you, Taylor Mathis, for joining us. We had so much fun. We talked college football, we talked NFL, and we just talked about who Taylor is. Until next time, of the Dad Bods Podcast into 65, we want to say peace.